Yo, Natsu here. Welcome back for part 3 of What If Deku Had Red. I'm sorry for last week. I had a massive headache. And today I'm recording late. It's 7 p.m. But I didn't really do much today. I literally just played South Park, the Fractured Butthole, for the entire day. Actually defeated Morgan Freeman on top of that, so all the trophies. Woohoo! Um, so, in the last part, Deku did the entrance exam, got first place, blah blah blah. Sorry, it's my third time trying this recording simply because my voice keeps cracking. Like, I don't even think I got a 1 minute and a half of recording without cracking in my voice. I just drank water. I'm trying. So, Deku goes for the first day of school. Interacts with everyone, saying hello. The conversation are practically the same, so it doesn't really change that much. You have a frog girl, a pinkish girl with horns, the two people he already met, Ida and Ochako. There's a weird guy with a scar over one side of his face. You know, the usual people. When Bakugo enters, he still acts like his normal canon self with everyone, but simply grunts at Deku, nothing else. Remember, they are friends in this one, quote unquote. Bakugo still sees Deku as a punching bag most of the time. But they did get more friendly with each other over the few years that Deku had his red. Though Deku never told him about One for All, so it will be a surprise for Bakugo. Well, the only surprise is that it will seem as if Deku suddenly got stronger because of how One for All works currently. Deku can already make lightning and fire and red itself. So Deku suddenly bursting with power like that won't really seem all that weird. He is currently a bit low on red, though. He finished fixing his entire arm just that morning, so, you know. He's about half with his red. It's still a fucking lot, but on his reserves, they're a bit down. When Aizawa enters, about the same interaction happens, which makes them go outside for Aizawa's tests. Because Deku was in first place, he was asked for the ball throw. Which Deku's first idea wasn't to go all out, but simply to test out One for All. Puts it around his entire body like he does with red, only putting One for All. Which that does pique Bakugo's interest. He thinks Deku only has his energy inside of him currently, and so isn't going all out. Still, Deku threw the ball pretty far. About as... I'd go with saying... about 702 meters. You know, lower than what Canon, Bakugo, and Deku did. Sorry about that for anyone who has earphones. It just came out of nowhere. I'm really sorry. But yeah, the moment that score was made, Aizawa was surprised by the high score. Until Bakugo just screamed at Deku, "Hey, why didn't you go all out with that? He said to go all out." Which, first, Aizawa asked what he meant, and then everyone else just looked at him like, wait, what? Because Deku is massively physically strong, and put just enough of One For All around his body for it to just tingle, which is pretty good. And mixed with his own huge strength, was able to push the ball pretty far. But Bakugo knows that with Red, or with Deku's normal quirk and abilities, he would be able to throw it a lot further. Because he could just put Red around it and basically make it blow the hell away. So, Aizawa told Deku that he'd have to try again when everyone else do it as well. He wants him to truly throw it with all his force. Which Bakugo and Deku just kind of smirked a bit, because clearly Aizawa didn't seem to think that he'd be able to send it that much further. So, for each of the tests, everyone has around the same scores, except for two notable outliers. Bakugo, most of his scores are pretty higher. Well, pretty much higher, thanks to him basically training to increase his quirk and physical abilities because of Deku constantly growing in strength. And Deku, who shatters records compared to his normal ones. In terms of what they do, speed, Bakugo is faster. Strength, physical strength, Deku is better. Jumping, Deku shatters almost even Tsuyu's record. Well, no, he does shatter it, actually. He jumps pretty fucking high. Side-to-side jumps. Deku basically makes two walls next to him and just pushes himself off of them. Similar to what Mineta does, basically making two walls that bounce and just flipping between them. And then going back to the ball throw. Now, everyone, once again, still get about the same score as in canon, except for Bakugo and Deku. Their canon throws are 705.2 for Bakugo and 705.3 for Deku. Bakugo sends it at 1.3 kilometers, or 1,300 meters. Deku, the ball goes to almost 2 kilometers away before just shattering because of the red. The ball literally burns up. Of course, Ochako still has infinite, so they don't get the top score for that. But yeah, Aizawa was waiting for Deku to do 30% more. No, he more than doubled. He could have went triple his amount, but the ball destroyed itself before reaching that point. Now, I just want you to understand, Bakugo is almost twice as strong with his quirk as in canon. He is in an entire other league of power. Even physically, he is much stronger. So a lot of things are gonna have to change for that. And their classmates are gonna grow stronger as well, simply because of the desire to want to keep up at one point. And because Deku will basically help push them a bit further. You're gonna understand later. Sorry about that. Anyways, nobody gets thrown out simply to keep up with the story. All might still ask him, oh yeah, why didn't you throw at everyone? You already threw out an entire class just for the hell of it. With Aizawa was saying that he sees potential in them, and so keeps them all. The problem with the League of Villain infiltrating, I don't remember if it's before or after the how do they call it again? The hero villain test that All Might did with them after they received their costumes. But that won't change, so I'm just saying it now. That's gonna stay the same. It won't be a problem nowhere. So yeah. All Might's tests. Firstly, the only changes for Bakugo's costumes is that he has a bit less red on it because he feels like it's too much Deku's color because of the quirk he has, quote unquote. So, most of the parts that were red on his costume are now orange or purple, simply for look change. For Deku, his is massively different. Because his clothes can burn up quite easily when he uses his power, instead of a costume his mom would make, simply on the principle for me, Deku's costume is going to be made of a highly fire resistant, as well as kind of insulated, because of his lightning as well, clothes. And our... Give me a second, someone's knocking at my door. Sorry about that. Anyways, his hero costume for Deku. I think that's where I was at. So, how his hero costume is, think the Flash, like the series, not animated, but like the one for CNN, or I don't remember which one it might be for other places. Like the way it looks from the head down, well, neck down, I should say. Think similarly, but with places that look armor plated. Basically, how Deku wanted his suit to be designed is for a type of helmet a bit on his head, mostly to cover his hair. A suit that's resistant to fire, heat, whatever, stuff like that, because like his power literally burn up anything if he's not careful. And the places that are more armored are around his arms, around his near his foot, like right above, right under the knee, I should say. It doesn't go all the way down either. Basically, those is for him to put red inside and basically push it out, not from his hand. So, if he does a kick, he basically push out power, think Ida. He push out red from there to basically increase his speed. Similarly with the arms, it helps him go and push faster when he punches. Because he won't be burned up by that power, so he can physically boost himself, increase his own speed naturally, and then put that to push himself even faster while attacking. Or another thing he can do is put red inside of one of them for his arm and basically shoot it out kind of like a claw. which that one was less his idea and more Bakugo's. Basically, Bakugo was joking to him like, oh, you could do that with your power, you could do that. And basically, Deku just kind of wrote down a few of them at the same time just as it, because yeah, it could be interesting. Example, put power into them and make whip-like things to grab and throw people around is a good idea. Basically, inside of those armored spots, it's basically empty. Deku puts power into those and then controls what it does when he pushes it out. It's literally more of an assist so that the power doesn't burst out anywhere else, so it's easier to control. Yeah. For his headgear, like I said, it's mostly to cover his hair, because one thing he noticed, and does bother him a bit currently, is that his hair are starting to have a tinge of red inside of them. And he is a bit embarrassed because it almost looks like he's tainting his hair. Unaware that Kirishima is a natural blackhead for his hair. And he actually makes them red with paint as well. Deku, it's literally his quirk turning it red, so it shouldn't be a problem. Basically, he has a few spots of hair that are red instead of his natural green. It will be relevant later for something. Remember that. Oh, and you also notice that I constantly say around the same and not the exact same for most of the other people in his class. Some of them are stronger. Some of them are weaker, probably. But I can definitely say some of them are stronger. Some of you might understand where I'm taking this from and why it might be. Try to guess, try to guess. So, the teams are the exact same. Most of the team except one have the same score or few seconds difference. Bakugo and Ida versus Ochako and Deku will go quite a bit different. And the reason is because both of them are more powerful. It is terrifying. The building was shaking. The cameras cut during that because of the amount of power, and both Ida and Ochako basically got out of the building because they were afraid. The bomb was left inside, which did make the hero lose, because Bakugo and Deku basically just took this as a fight each other. Now, for how the fight went. Basically, Deku sent Ochako to try and get to the bomb, while Bakugo told Ida to keep the bomb safe, and both ran inside to try and fight each other, knowing damn well the other was gonna come to look for them. Deku and Bakugo both made it easy, basically making explosions so that the other can basically track where the other one is. Basically, at one point, both of them just crashed into a wall because, yeah, the sound was coming right from there, basically punching each other at the same time. The students and All Might were wondering, why the hell are they even doing that? It doesn't look like a hero and is trying to find a villain. It looked like two people who hated each other, just trying to kill each other. Bakugo was throwing explosions around, as well as actually trying to punch and kick Deku, because he knows his explosions do damage, but not that much. That's why he started to physically train to make himself stronger and have a bit more muscle, because he was trying to keep up with Deku and still have ways of harming him that didn't require him to literally go nuclear. While Bakugo was doing that, Deku was blocking most of the things, making shields in the air, punching back, throwing a bit of lightning at him. This was shaking the building. This was scaring Ochako. Ida was trying to protect the bomb, because seriously, what's going on? Until All Might basically asked Bakugo and Deku to be more careful, because they are being quite dangerous with breaking all those walls. When Ochako went to Ida, Ida had removed everything from the room and basically started the same spiel as in canon until a massive explosion was heard. That was Bakugo releasing one of his gauntlets straight at Deku. The difference is the building didn't collapse or break a huge amount of walls or anything like that. Deku saw him do that, understood what was gonna happen, and basically made a bubble of red near where the explosion was gonna start, and basically stayed inside of it. The explosion blasted in, basically thundered around, shaking the entire building. Deku had pushed Bakugo away when he set off the explosion, basically making sure Bakugo would lose an arm or something like that, while he was straight in the explosion. What he wanted to try is see if he could, using red, absorb the explosion itself to try and turn into pure red, which failed. Instead, what happened was that he had to strengthen his own body more to not blow up an entire part of himself. He had burns on a few parts of his body, as well as a part of his hero costume being completely shocked to death. So, that was quite hilarious. All Might then screamed into mic to not do that again, because both of them would be thrown out of the test. Bakugo was mad that Deku did that, while Deku was kind of mad that Bakugo tried something so dangerous, basically telling him he could have injured the other two up top. During that time, Ida and Bakugo basically decided to get the fuck out of there. Like, straight up, they just thought, yeah, no, if they keep shaking the building like that, we're gonna die. Basically, Ochako opened a window, asked Ida to grab her hand. Basically, they jumped off while she was making them float, so that they wouldn't crash the ground, and then just left a bit away. One thing Ida didn't notice was that while they were doing that, Ochako put the tape around him, so she stopped the villain at least. Which Ida was a bit mad about, because she took a time of vulnerability and basically just took him out. After that happened, Deku made a blast of red, while basically just trying to see if he could remake his costume, which he couldn't really. He was able to basically burn a piece of it to see what it was made of to try and start recreating it. But just like for his cellular construct of his body, yeah, it's gonna take a while. Sorry, I need to drink. Okay. As I was saying, after doing that, deku basically blasted a lot of red around to just kind of push away any debris that came down because of the explosion, which broke the rest of the cameras. Basically, he did a small EMP, which burned them all out. All Might changed cameras outside the building, and for the next few minutes until the test was over, basically more pieces of the building kept crumbling, powerful hits being given, explosions, blah blah blah. And then suddenly Bakugo just being punched through a wall, well, the outside wall, from Deku using One for All and punching him out of there. Bakugo almost broke a few bones because of that. Well, no, actually, he did break a few. Basically, because Bakugo was thrown pretty fucking close to where Ochako and Ida were, she basically just ran straight to them and straight to him and put tape around his arm, instantly making them win. Deku and Bakugo were a bit sad that it was over, but then All Might said that anyway, their time was gonna be over in just a few seconds, so the heroes win, but he's not happy with them. Saying that Bakugo and Deku, he was gonna have to say a few things to them afterward. Nezu was told about the event later. And he just thought that those two are gonna make great heroes if they learn to control themselves. For the round that Bakugo and Deku got, it was basically an earful that what they did was dangerous, they could have put the other two students in danger, and that they basically just went away from what the test was about, just to have a fight. Nezu basically told them if they want to fight again, just do it in a corner or something, but don't destroy property, please. So, in the next part, it's gonna be the USJ. I'm not gonna give any spoilers for that though, so anyways. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe if you want to. Natsu, out!